Hello, Tim Munker here with part 3 of cloning a WordPress theme, NIsarg. And by cloning, getting it pretty close using HTML and CSS. So in the last video, it came into a few issues. One was getting this top bar here. The other was getting some things to look correct in here. And I took some time to do that. So let's take a look at the style. We'll go to the menu. And so I added a couple things. And let's see, in the menu, I didn't need the class of menu again because that was in the div class, but I added the class of active, and I should have had a space in there, and I didn't. I had a comma or something if I am adding two classes. But I did one class of active and one of non-active, and I'll tell you why I did that in a moment. So in the menu, and I did .menu, that's the first class, a.active, that gives me that class. The border top is 3 pix, solid, and teal. And that gave me this. And we're going to try and match the colors a little bit better in this video. And then then I made a non-active class. And the reason I did that is because we still need a top border here. Otherwise, this one looks shifted up a little bit in relation to this one. Okay. The other thing, the font wasn't looking correct here. So I took a look and inspected the font of the other one. And the other one wasn't using the Source Sans Pro that it was using for paragraphs. It was using Lotto. I think I'm saying that correctly. So I actually, in here, I added the style sheet for Lotto, maybe, as well. And then, I don't know how to say it, but anyways. And then in the headings, I added that. The other thing, it was kind of fading in, so I was trying to add drop shadow, which is the wrong thing to add. It was actually text shadow that I needed to add. And so where did I add that? That would have been in the banner down here. Nope. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. That's the line. I made the line in between. And I made some things with that. So I'm going down here. Oh yeah, here's the title of the site. This is where I added the text shadow. So 2 pix, and then in black there. Changed the font weight, the color, transformed it to uppercase. So that was in the video. We inspected the element, saw the letter size was, or the font size was 3.5. Sorry, my alarm's going off there. And then the letter spacing was 10 pixels. Tagline, I also added the text shadow, and I played around with the size and put it at 1.3 for right now. I may change some letter spacing with that to get it to look like that. So the spacing here is quite a bit different. The other thing is the line, the HR that you'll see here. Need to work on that. So actually, while I'm here, just let's change that. Let's make the height 1 pixel. Control save, and then you see it does get a bit smaller. I don't even know, it might even be a little smaller there. And there's some padding below and above that. So let's add some padding. And on top we'll have 10 pixels. To the right 0, bottom 10 pixels 0, and we'll hit Control Save and refresh. Nope, that's going to make it larger. So we actually want to change it from padding to, I believe, margin. Hit Control Save. Okay, and that's given me a spacing that is similar. Again, we're trying to get this similar. Now the height, maybe we even put a ½ pixel. Let's try that. That's looking about what it looks like. Actually, it looks like about a ½ pixel. So that's looking a lot better. And then a couple other things about this. So in this one, the color here is, I don't know if it matches the search bar. But the color here is a little different, so I'm going to try and figure out what that color is. I don't think it's a full teal. So let's use our snipping tool. And let's take a snip. Okay. All right, and we'll save as call it overline color. Okay, and then I'm going to go to that website again, which is just going to search hex colors by image. Okay, and colors from image, HTML color codes. Okay, upload a file. Go to the desktop. We call that. I just saved it. And not save it on the desktop. I'm saving it again. Overlay color. It's right here in front of me. Random. Okay. Let's see what color. Okay. So this is the actual color code. So I'm going to copy that. And instead, where we have the active, where did I have that? Let's see, I had that up here. Do a hashtag and then paste in that color. Control save. Okay, and let's go here. Okay, that looks like the NIsarg color. Good. Okay. Let's see what other something looks a little centered, a little bit better. You check out my spacing between my menu items. Okay. So in the menu, I have 15 picks to the right, but 5 picks to the left. So let's switch that into 10 and 10. So let's see how that looks. Oops, that's the wrong one. Okay, refresh. That's looking a lot more like it now. It doesn't look uneven like it did before. Now I'm going to have a little energy drink this morning, full throttle. That has nothing to do with the video. Oh, other thing I did, I moved this picture around. So the picture is here, the picture is there, so they look somewhat similarly centered, although I think I'm going to move the picture around a little bit more. Oh yeah, background position. Okay, so I did minus 300 as my X. Let's try minus 400. Okay. And that gets it right about in the center. Where it's right about in the center there. Pretty close. It might be even a little bit more. Okay, now that's moving it over a little bit. Notice that creek. I'm using that. And that's about where it is here. So that's about where it is centered. We got the bottom part of the picture. Something's coming out a little funny. All right, so let me check the Y. So maybe go minus 140. Okay, and that's taking care of that overlap on the bottom. So now we've got that banner. It looks really nice. We've got this active here. We've got that. And this is obviously not mobile optimized yet. If I slam this down, it looks weird. And we're going to have to focus on that as we move on. But for now, it looks pretty decent for that top part. But, of course, we want to have the bottom parts here work out. And one thing I had thought of doing, and this is in my, and I'm going to change the view just to no split right now, and go back to my index. Okay, in the main part, well, we have to have the main part. We have the side part. Actually, I think we're good. I was thinking something, and then I think we're good. But in terms of the CSS, so let's do a horizontal split again. I'll keep that there, and then put no. Yeah, this is being a little bit of a pain. It's gonna make me open. This is why. There we go. All right. So looking here, let's move that up a little bit. Okay. I want to have, well, actually, so this is why I'm thinking might have an issue, because I want to have the main and the aside. I want this obviously the full length, but I want this to come in a bit, and I want some spacing in between. So how am I going to do that? And I think what I need to do is wrap it in another div, and let's check the footer. Footer is the full width. Yes, the footer is the full width. So it's got to be the main and the aside have to be wrapped in a div. So I'm going to go up above the main and actually below that. All right, so we're going to call this main-site for lack of a better thing to call it. Okay, so now I'm going to copy. Hopefully this won't mess up. To the end of the side, I'm going to hit Control X, and then I'm going to go here, Control V. Okay, and let's see. See how my spacing, did it get messed up? Big thing for my spacing. It did. Okay, so that first div looks fine. Second div looks fine. Third div looks fine. Oh. So actually, each of these needs to be spaced in. So I'm just going to go through and do that. I'm a little anal about this. I think it just segments the code a little bit better. And I should have done this from the get-go, but, you know, I didn't. So, shame on me. This is just this really doesn't take long, but it's a little bit of a pain. You want to keep your code nice and not messy. Now you don't have to, a note about tabbing with HTML, you don't actually have to tab at all. I generally like to, as it organizes the code a little bit better. But again, you don't have to. And this is just kind of letting me know that my code and some of these long lines, they won't tab over. Letting me know that my code is nested in a larger div section. And I'll explain a little bit more about why I'm doing this in a second. So this is, yeah, we don't need that. Okay, and tabbing everything over. La -di -da, And this is why planning is a bit important. So all this, the main and the side is all nested in that div. And I'll take out that space and hit Control Save. I look at my preview, nothing really has changed much at all. But it's about to, because this main and this aside are compacted into a certain part. They're not full the way across the screen. And that's why I did that div, which I called main-site. So main-site, and let me see, as I compact this, there still is some spacing. It goes to about here, and then it goes to the side goes behind it. So there's definitely some different things with the CSS to get it to look 100%, but we're going to do the big screen first. I'm going to say the width is, let's go 85%, taking a guess. Float is going to be none. Margin is going to be auto. Okay. I'm going to save that and then move this up a little bit here. Now, with our preview, okay, so you know what just happened? Well, we started to compact it in a bit. Now, is it as compact as that? It's close. It's actually pretty close. Now, a couple other things we want to do. Okay, so let's keep going with that. So within this div main.site, we have the main. That's where the main content goes, and we're going to float that left, and the width within that is going to be, let's say it's 70% to start. Display is going to be it's going to be a block, and we'll say the min height is 300 pixels. Okay, and then also the aside, we're going to float to the right. The width we'll say is 25%. Display is going to be a block, and the minimum height is going to be 300 pixels. Control save that way. All right. So that's what ours looks like. This is kind of okay. So we're kind of doing the spacing. Whoops, that's not what I want. Looks about the same, so it's getting close. Sorry, alarm again. Dismissing that. Okay, so now what I want here in the main, the background color is going to be white, and also in this side, the background color is going to be white. Okay, so we'll save that. All right, so that's now getting it to look sort of like that, except, all right, so we have spaces, blocks in between each of these div categories here on the right. So actually, I don't want the background color on the side to do that. I want to do something else. So I want to look, and I have recent comments, recent posts, and ads. And then, okay. So I'm going to make each of those. So dot ads, we'll do the background color is, nope, background color is white. I'm just going to copy this for dot recent post and recent comments. And recent comments. And we're going to say the margin top on these is 20 pixels. We'll see. I guess that's in. Okay. Did the margin top on one of them, so I have to do it on all of them. Okay. And we also have to do archives. Okay. So again, that's spacing. Okay. So that's the preview. All right, we're starting to space it out. And we got no padding in between these though. And we got to take care of the list style. Oh, and then we have categories also. Okay, and let's see, that's the preview. Okay, and we also need titles there, so that would be good. So categories, we need a header. What are we using? H3. So we need that for archives. So we do H3 and hit tab. Let's call this archives. And spacing is a little odd there. And then here, H3 tab, this is going to be categories. Save. Okay. All right, so we got those. We got that there with that weird little underlined thing. We'll have to focus on that, getting that there. But we also have some other issues. So with the preview, we have this here with a line under there. So we're going to need to do that, and that's going to be up in the first excerpt. Info. So dot info UL, and let's do a display. Let's try flex. See what that does. Okay, that lines them up, and then we gotta focus now on the spacing. Dot info UL li. Do list style, none, padding. Probably want to do 10 pixels. Okay. So we're getting that going right now. We're starting to get that. And actually, with this, looking at this, I noticed that the main doesn't want to have a white background. It's the excerpt that wants to have the background. That's another thing we have to fix. Pull this up here a little bit. So we're going to take that out here. And it's going to be excerpt. It's going to have that background. We'll do the margin on the top. I think it's a little bit more. It's probably like 30 pixels. So, all right. So now it's starting to look, like the split that we have. We probably want to change it to 30 pixels on each of these as well. Okay. All right. Control save. All right, so that's starting to space it out a bit. Now, let's see. Okay, let's go into the focused on the paragraphs up here. Okay, I want to make the font size slightly larger and the color 8:3. So that's that. Okay, so that's getting close. It might be actually be even slightly smaller than that. Maybe it's 1.1. It's close. Okay. Now for each of these excerpts here, they are aligned in the center. Let me copy that. Control save. Right. So that's bringing those to the center. We're going to have to, I think, have to do something about the spacing there. And possibly the font size. Okay. Now we also want to get these lined in the center because they're lined in the center there. So to do that, let's back up and look in here. Down at excerpts. Sorry, info. All right. So we need to justify the content in the center and align items in the center. Okay. All right, so that's bringing them to the center. Okay, so that's that list. This list here in recent posts, recent comments, archives, and categories, we want to do something about that. We can do it above here, just a general. Actually, let's bring it up in the general area because we have the specific case, which the CSS reads top to bottom. So I'll add that there, and then here, it's more of a global thing. List style is going to be none, and then we'll do a padding of probably 10 pixels. So, and that padding works fine with that. So now this is starting to look pretty much similar. And okay, so want some padding on the H3s there, and specifically the aside H3. So with that, I want the padding to be 15 pixels. Okay, so all right, so that's maybe even a bit more on the left and right. So 15 pixels on the top, 30 pixels on the left. 15 pixels on the bottom and 30 pixels on the right. Let's try that. So that's what that looks like. Maybe not quite, maybe 25, 25. Okay, so that's that. That's that. Let's see. Okay, so font size is a little bit bigger. Let's say it's 2.5. That's too big. It's 1.8. And letter spacing. No, that's too much. I may even inspect this because I don't know that the font is quite the same. Isolado style. Got a couple things from there. Font weight's 400. Let's try that. What's that out? Okay, that's looking better. It's looking more like it. Now the spacing is barely minimal, so maybe it's letter spacing is 1 pixel. Okay, and then there's going to be that line under it too that we need. Okay, so we also want some padding in the main paragraph. So a couple things. All right, and actually within this isn't the full percentage. So let's take a look at the HTML I wrote. All right, so the excerpt is in the main, but it's not the full width of the main. So let's start, find the excerpt. Okay. The width is perhaps 90%. What is non-margin auto, so you can get that. Okay. Okay. Margin left auto. Margin right auto. Okay. So that still keeps our spacing. But actually, all right, so we've definitely got some padding on the paragraphs, but I don't know that I actually want to do this. So thought I wanted to do it, but didn't want to do it. Okay. Instead, do the excerpt, the paragraph. It's giving it a padding of 10 pixels on top, 30 pixels to the right, 10 pixels on bottom, 30 pixels to the left. Let's try that. Okay. So that's moving it in some. It's moved in even more. Let's try 60 and 60. Okay, and so now it's getting close. We're not exactly like it, but it's getting a lot closer. Okay, and then within each of these, in between the info and the other stuff, there's like a horizontal line. Okay. So after this, excuse me, we need a horizontal line after the info. Put one of those in. Okay. Okay, so now that horizontal line is coming all the way across. It's not what we want. Okay, so what we want to do, back up down here. Actually, we'll keep it where this is in the excerpt. Alright, so we want this the width to be, let's say 90 pixels, float to be none, margin to be auto, height, I want it to be 2 pixels, and then I want the color. So where was that color that we needed? This color here. So that's going to be the background color. Okay, and let's see. So we got that center line that's showing up like what we had here. Now we also need the picture. So we need a few pictures here, and we're going to get those from Pexels. So let's focus on the first one, and we can worry about the other ones later. Type in gentleman. Okay. I'm going to take this and this one. Okay. And picture resize. And take today, this one. Now looking in our, oops, in this, got his head cut off, about to his knees. So I actually want to improve on that. I want the upper part of his body. So when I snip this, I'm going to go for the upper part. I think it looks more classy and gentlemanly if we do that. And also, I think what I want to do is center the picture a little bit. That looks about centered. Okay, so we're going to use that. We're going to make it look a little bit better. That's good for the size. Save it to disk. Okay. Folder. It's out here. Okay. Go back to my desktop. The NIsarg cloak. We're going to put this in here. We're going to rename it as gentleman and put it in here. And I don't know that it'll be showing up yet. We might see what we named it. .jpg. Right. Okay, so it's showing up. Excellent. Okay. So a couple things to make this look a little bit better. Image, we'll make it the width 95%. Padding 5 pixels. Okay, let's make it 98%. And okay, also let's float be none and the margin be auto. That's there. Hold on. No. Another way we can do it if it's not doing quite what we want. We can do that. Okay, so we've got our photo now here. That looks kind of cool. So you can see this is looking a lot closer. One thing, this font and this font look a little different. And let's see, what is that in the code? That's the logo name. Let's just do, oh wait, 400. It's actually fairly close. It's fairly close. Okay, so we got that, and we've got this footer here, but in here, the footer is all the way down at the bottom, and it's in black, or like maybe it's that 333 color. All right, so we can fix that. All right, display is going to be an inline block. Width is going to be 100%. Okay, background color is going to be try 3, and then color, do it white. Okay. All right, and so I actually don't have much there. A couple other things we can do. Margin top, let's do 30 pixels. Minimum height, let's do 50 pixels. Okay. and we're still getting it black. So what we actually need to do, and I want to make the minimum height more than that, make it 100 pixels. What we need to do is also do the, we actually have to put the color in here, I believe. So hopefully this will remedy the situation. Okay, and there we go. We got the copyright, except we're going to do display flex. Okay. Takes care of that. So that's not, if we do that, okay. Okay, that's still a little bit too much on the margin top, so it's 40. Okay, and that looks starting to look a lot like NIsarg, the opening page. Want to get a few more photos in there and clean it up, but at this point we've gotten the opening page to look a lot like the theme here. You know, it's like anything. You can tell there's small differences in it, but we've made it look a lot like that. It's not mobile optimized yet, and that's going to be a bit of a task that I'll start in the next video. But I'm going to put some more photos in here before the next video, and it's starting to look pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video when we make it more mobile optimized, and thanks for watching.